What is up, everyone? Today we're gonna do a live stream on a Sunday, and that is because you can already see it on the title. We are gonna prepare our crypto trading week. And to do that, we're gonna go through some high time frame charts. We're gonna sketch in some good point of interest to maybe long from or short from, of course. So let me prepare everything, share the stream, and then let's get into the analysis. There we go in the Discord. Now let's share the stream on X, and then let's just start in by analyzing XRP, because I think it's more of the interesting charts at the moment. So we're just gonna start off with the banger. Alright. The Chartsmith, this is what I like to see on the YouTube homepage. I agree, man. Let me just put on a quick light in my room, and then let's get into XRP. Right. XRP, of course. Let's take a look at the daily time frame. Because you could definitely say we're in this huge range, and I've also pointed out at this range that we could have possible market maker signals that they want to short the market. That's what the red arrows are for. Those could be my indications that, okay, the market makers are selling off orders here, or they're shorting the market to then trade lower. But then, looking of course at this, it looks like a distribution. But if we take a good look at what happened here, because if you have a distribution like this, your technical target would be all the way at the low. But at this time, I would disagree, and that is because look at how we set up this bottom. Each time when we go below the low, there was never a candle close. And we took out the liquidity, got a good push up. Market makers filling up orders right here. Took it out one more time, so everyone that has been longing in this part, thinking we're gonna go up, has been stopped out as well. But then the third time is when something interesting has happened, and that's also where we got this continuation towards total new all-time highs. And why is that? And that is because of this demand right there. And if you zoom out, this is the demand. This is your last pullback before you actually manage to break new all-time highs on XRP. So the people who have forced price up here towards new all-time highs, you have to think of it this way. If price comes back there, are they willing to defend their orders? And of course, everything they've scaled in here, are they willing to defend the orders and push price up so we can trade into more profits, alright? So this is a beautiful bottom set. And to be honest, you do not want price to come back here, especially after we've did this local part. And let me zoom a little bit in on this. Turn the music a little bit down. Because if we take a look at the 4 hour, this is your last price action that actually brought you towards a bullish direction. This is what brought you to new lows. And then this is your last price action before you took out that part. That's also what we swept, because we built a bunch of liquidity here. Makes it interesting for the market makers to come down here. We were also trading above highs here, luring more buyers, taking them out, and then aggressively V-shaping up. So do I want to see price here again on a higher time frame? Definitely not. This is way too bullish to go back to. And as long as we're still holding our levels, then we could still expect upside. And that's where this local part comes in, because why is this chart so interesting? Yes, we have a whole bullish bottom here, but this local part is what makes it interesting for me. If you take a look at how this range is set up, if you make a low and a high and you start trading between those 2 points, you're consolidating. You're building up liquidity on the highs, and you're gonna do so on the lows as well. And then you can see right now, this was the drawn liquidity, and this is a good sign for possible accumulations. And that's also because we are building trend liquidity on the highs until we have taken enough on the lows, which was our swing low right here, to then move towards all of the liquidity on the highs again. And this also aligns with, of course, this whole structure. On the higher time frame, we are still waiting for that higher low, for that higher high. The local price action will tell us where that's going to be. Okay, so a couple of scenarios here. Do I like this bottom here? Yes and no. I like the way we're holding this old low now as support, and I do think we could expect some upside, but we haven't aligned our structure with our previous pull. This is literally our weekly 3-day structure towards those new all-time highs. So it would be important for me to test that back as well, because then you really have no reason to go below it. So let's start sketching in the bullish scenarios on the higher time frame right now. And that would be, let's extend our range because we have a deviation. This could be a market maker signal. And then a scenario is go below this low one more time. Test our old high here. And from there, get that change of character and a break back into your range. If this scenario happens while you still build liquidity on the way down, you could have an absolutely banger. Because this is literally a liquidity schematic, a market maker schematic. You know what I always say, you're gonna build liquidity on the highs till there's enough taken on the lows, and then price reverses. So this would be a crazy scenario to look at. So keep that in mind. Let's go on the lower time frame now, because there is still a possibility that we could just start trading up there. Next level value, no holding back here. I'm just doing what I'm always doing. This is my job, Laden. Okay. just start to follow a bit of structure. This is what brought us all the way towards new lows, of course. And on the local time frame, it's this part. You've managed to break it. And from there you have the change of character. And now your trend expectancy is to continue up. We have also tested our old structure back here in combination with our last price action before we actually made the change of character. So is there a reason to pretty much go lower? I would say no. You can also see on the lower time frame, this is all, yeah, it's tested. All tested structures, so that makes this liquidity. That would also mean if we start to lose all of these old lows here, then this scenario comes into play. But for now we're holding them, so let's keep looking at this local picture. It's not taken, that is taken. This is a little part where some manipulation did happen. You traded above the high, took out the low again, testing our demand that brought us higher in the first place. So you could argue there is market maker involvement here. So because of this basically PO3 bottom, then we took out, after that manipulation, our first hold to continue. This is in the way, annoying me. This arrow, to be honest, as well. Took that out, started trading up. That is also taken. Little bit messy price action on the lower time frame here. I wouldn't call that a proper range. Traded below that. Just trying to find the right bias, why market did certain things to actually connect with my higher time frame bias. Because is this just, are we just gonna leave this behind to go for the scenario we have sketched in on the left? Or is this just hunting our extreme liquidity every time so we could just start blasting up? I wouldn't say you have to go back down here all the way, because we're still holding support and we keep on hunting our extreme liquidities. So we do not have to go here. So that would also mean if we manage to hold our local levels here, we could still expect to trade up. Yeah, because since we took out this extreme liquidity, this is one move up. I do not see valid structure in between these 2 points. So new high, we could still expect that higher low for new higher high. We have made equal highs, which indicates probably a little bit more liquidity building. One more grab on the bottom, which could be this right here, to then start running towards those equal highs. I like this bottom, trade it nice and aggressively. It's the 4 hour looking. Nothing special. Okay. You know, follow our simple structure terms. This is what brought you to new lows. If we manage to hold this low, this is what needed us to start pushing up, but we didn't. It made new lows, but then we also gained it. So the goal was to grab this liquidity. Strong gain now. So if we manage to stay strong here, hold our levels, we should not go below this line. It's of course your high time frame change of character. This is a trick from the chef. Not gonna say too much about it. Okay. The lower time frame, it is tested back, but if you look at the 4 hour, you still had a bit of price struggle there. We have had this 4 hour imbalance created, of course, our last imbalance before we broke that local structure. So this could be an area to test back. Let's actually look at where all the volume, I think it's right here, but yeah, okay, that's beautiful. That's another reason to not go below this low and just continue from here. Our supply is really high. This is what had to bring you towards new highs. It failed doing so, so seller stepped in here. Your supply. This was already tested. So that makes this a liquidity point. Swing low, swing high to cut the swing low. It's probable that we could go towards the swing high. Draw liquidity. These two lows are liquidity, of course. But if we zoom in even more, I also liked what happened here. We broke our structure, we tested it back, and from there, really take a close look at this one. That is because we have made a high, a low, and we traded above the high. What people come into the market when you trade above a high? People that buy, of course, they see a break, they're gonna FOMO. And that makes it interesting for all of those people who've bought in this move to actually go back towards that low and take them out. And then continue to trade in the desired direction, which in this case is up. So you could also still argue that if you still hold this, because of what happened here locally, that brought you also above that one, that if we hold this, we could just still trade up. So what do you want to see? This is beautiful, what is happening. You want to see keep creating this liquidity on the highs, test it, change of character, and you can continue to trade towards the supply. You can see this price action always, not always, most likely when there's grindy price action like this, you can look to the left and you can see this is also clear support and resistance. But because of these two lows, I also want to sketch in this scenario. POC is there, so we could just do this, take it out and actually start ripping from there. I'm not really interested in going lower here. You want to hold strong with what we have done. You want to make, you've made the higher high, you just want to make the higher low for another higher high. We are still making the swing high, so it's up until proven otherwise. The swing high could be all the way over here. Then we continue till here, then we correct, and then we start blasting. It would align with this structure. For now, we're still moving in this swing, and we want to look locally for longs if they are given, or else the scenario here is active. And of course, if we do manage to fill, or we could reject from this supply here, we also have this scenario, which is I mean, I'm not sure if they're gonna give it away, but if they are, then man, you have to be sharp at some good spot buys and some good leveraged longs. Man, I cannot just do a normal analysis like a quick short one on an XRP. Stream has started and I'm already talking 20 minutes just about XRP. I don't know why it happens. It's just my passion taking the upper hand there. If there are any charge requests by someone in the chat right now, then just throw them up. Any crypto coin you want to see, let's go get it. Then I would be happy to take a look at that. And if not, then I'm just gonna continue my list here, chart a few things to of course prepare our trading week. Sketch a bias, XRP, fully prepared, draw in every scenario that's possible. Okay, I wanted to do ADA, but we actually got a chart request from the chartsmith. Thank you, sir. We're gonna do Illuvium. Man, I've not looked at that in a long time, you know. Okay, Illuvium. First up, I want to draw in this little bit, because this is just going to be major resistance that we have to get through. Just should catch your eyes literally any second, because on the higher time frame, let's look at the weekly, this is what brought us towards new lows. On the monthly even. What I don't like is, if you look on the weekly, this candle structure, you are still rejecting it. This wick isn't the greatest, but we'll take a look at the local picture in a second to see what's going on. This is very interesting. A big volume spike right there. Could indicate some buyers stepping into the market and actually willing to push price up here. Okay, nothing that much to see here again. This is what I do not like. All of our targets that we wanted to trade to are gone, because this is just one grind down. We absolutely blasted through everything. But then if you follow just the 1 day structure, higher low, higher high. hold this low, and we can trade up. I also want to draw on this scenario. There's still an untested demand below. So that means this doesn't have to hold. That actually makes this a great liquidity point. Take it out, quick reaction up, and continue. Scenario 1 on the higher time frame. For now, if we're holding this, we do not have to touch it. But it is a scenario you have to keep in mind. Okay. Why? I always ask myself this question. Why are we starting to go up from here? Does that have to do something with the left? Most likely. So where is this bounce coming from? There is a great support resistance there, but I think it's still from this whole breaker block. Why is that? Because we were still in a downtrend here. And remember, we haven't got any big pumps yet. And this is what brought us to new lows. Even made us break structure, so you could expect this to continue. But we absolutely blasted through it. That makes this supply become a breaker. And that's also where we're holding support now. This is your internal pullback, and then we make new highs. So actually this connects really well. So do we have to go lower than this part? We don't have to, no. We have enough tested here to start trading up. But our local picture will tell if we are allowed to do so. I like what we did here, how we set off this low, because we traded aggressively above the high. So what comes into the market here? A lot of buyers, especially after a pump with also big volume there. You can see, you can compare it to the rest. Crazy amounts of volume. That makes it interesting to go below this low. Everyone that has bought here has now been taking out, and that's when we started absolutely pumping up. So that makes it even more likely for me that we're gonna come below this low. And more interesting to look at this local part to look for longs. I'm gonna reduce this though, because I don't like drawing in a fat orange box. Let's take a look. This is absolutely beautiful. We did not really respect this old liquidity though. But this is a valid range in of itself, with building liquidity, grabbing liquidity on the lows. And then once again, the trick we saw on the higher time frame actually happened on this lower time frame as well. We traded up, higher high, higher low, definitely not a higher high. So that makes this become a range. Starting points going above the high, what people come into the market, buyers, where does it become interesting to take out? At the low, that's exactly what we did, and we just started trading up from there. So this is actually a great bottom to leave behind. You're going sideways, and we have spotted that this is an accumulation. Also combined with this, people are definitely stepping into the market here. And you can also clearly see the pump after. We've actually hit our technical target. So it's unfortunately we didn't spot this earlier. So we could have traded towards this point, because now the purpose of this whole range was to go towards the range high. Now it's a bit skeptical. Where can we go? We can still come all the way down. We could even come towards this low again, especially with all of this liquidity built below. Yeah, this is just something that hit its technical target. You had 2 really good days of trading it, because when you have a strong drawn liquidity, you are in a, how we would say it on the Nasdaq, you're in a buy model. So I do not want to actively trade this. Maybe I will look at it tomorrow, day after. But for now I'm staying off this. I'm expecting more upside though. Zeldris Sin, welcome to the stream, man. Good to have you here once again. ENA, let's take a look at ENA for you. Oh man. What's that you, Zeldris, that we sparred in the Discord about ENA, where, yeah man, maybe I can actually rattle it up here. Yeah, I think it was you, Zeldris. 100%. I remember. Shout out to you. Especially I shared my charts. You did absolutely amazing, because that was the bottom of ENA. Well done. And also I had this drawn in, this being a lot of liquidity here, and this point of interest still being our whole hold on the bottom. Yeah, great one, Zeldris. So we actually tested that, and from there it's history. We started just ripping. Yeah, great, buddy. Good to see you again. Would love to see more charts from you in the future. Okay. Especially when you see a trend like this, you can see the volume is rising. So all in all, there's becoming more interest in the project here. So this is definitely a good sign for the future of ENA. And well, because we've had this crazy pump, I think we could say once again it's up until proven otherwise. Look at this level, hold that, we can continue up. This also aligns really well with this pullback, testing it, bringing us to new highs. So that also means if we manage to hold this, it's up only. And this is a really easy way to, because you have this whole chart, and now because we have established the higher time frame and the part we tested here and this local structure, we now only have to take a look at this local part. And the rest we do not really have to look at. I do see a little daily order block here though, that's what we tested. But of course we test things to go down. That makes sense. But the trend is still intact. This is a great next target. When we do get a higher low and we start running, it's most likely going to be towards this liquidity. We have tested every supply here, right there. So now it's basically a free run towards this liquidity zone, unless we do something like this. Create a distribution. Locally. we are trading down and we want to look for longs. So we're drawing in from locally, trading down. This is not a good break. Still made new lows. This should move towards new lows. And we actually created a accumulation, while also hunting the last bit of price action that brought us towards a new high, which is great. We also did that on this tab, which is more convincing to see. That means this was creating more liquidity for this point to then take out, and well, we started trading up from there. Really nice. This is definitely a market maker signal. I like how we formed this bottom, because you keep on taking the liquidity, and you're building on the highs. You're going to build on the highs until you've taken enough on the lows to then start trading towards the desired direction again. And if big people, smart money, you can clearly see it in the chart. If smart money is stepping into the market, you want to trade with them. You have a crazy strong bias here, so locally it's up until proven otherwise as well. We do not have to go below this point for me. We could, but we don't have to, because we have already tested a lot of things back and our structure is aligning. So if we hold support here, we could just start trading up. The technical target of a accumulation on this local part is just the opposite side of our swing. Now we're not there yet, so we could still trade towards it. This was our last pull that brought us towards new lows. Buyers stepped in from there. And I like how we created this bottom, because we front ran this pullback here, creating liquidity. Good to take out. Also with the fast reaction, that's even more positive than blasting towards this high. So we don't have to come back here. We definitely could though, because how we set up this low. Price came here, what did we do? We didn't put up a real low, we just started creating higher lows. But if we manage to build liquidity like this on the highs, we could definitely expect just a demand chain. And you want to be somewhere in this pullback, look for that local structure change, and then you could play towards this level here. Everything's tested here. So if we do break above here and do not reject, then it's definitely going to be a free high, because look at how the way we put this high. No market maker involvement at all. Just building liquidity. No traps being placed there. So this is definitely a point of interest. Yeah, that's basically everything you want to look at. You do, because of these three lows now and this little part, we could also take out this and then still continue. That's why we're rating on local confirmation on our point of interest. And we could also still distribute from there, come to the low, and then still blast off. That's why we draw in all of those scenarios, and we're still gonna look, and we are still going to look at the possible scenarios on local confirmation. High time frame point of interest, local confirmation will tell us if we're gonna respect our analysis, our ideas in the market. DNA, I'm gonna edit. Looks great on the high time frame. Good chart request, Seldris. Yeah, there would have to be a really high convincing short for me to take a short, because we do not want to trade against the trend, right? Going up really aggressive, so literally a god setup would have to form there for me to take a short. Okay. Yeah, with the volume, with the chart looking like this, no reason to come all the way here. Volume rising. This could be an autumn high project. But then again, price action will tell us. This looks great though. Great analysis. Thank you, Zeldris. ADA. I still do not like ADA. I do like the PA it's forming, but ever since we put out these equal lows, I'm kind of scared of ADA to look in one way. But then again, local price action will tell us what the market is going to do, what it wants to do, and that for now is higher high, higher low. Not the best higher high, but we could still respect it. Because it's not the best higher high, no candle opening and closing above our level. But because of these equal highs and this building liquidity locally here, this could just be creating one more liquidity and still respecting this trend. That's definitely a high probability scenario. So now from all this trouble on the higher time frame, we can now start zooming in again. The chalk is actually here, but I don't think it's on the daily. No, on the daily it is here. On the 4 hour it's even all the way down here. So you can see that momentum switch, right? Pull back towards new lows, make a higher high, we can expect a higher low for new higher highs. I'm more interested in this local picture though. This is our last pullback that also tested a great support and resistance. Came all the way over here. Look at the interaction on those levels. Here as well, broke it, support, tried to bring us down, but we flipped it again. And now this is what brought us towards those new highs. So if we hold this, only thing we have to do is just look up. Especially with this building liquidity, we can also see a bit of a rounding bottom forming here. All just great signals that we want to look up here. Swing low to swing high. We're in discounts. And our trend is up. Great targets on the high. Crazy amounts of liquidity. It's a waiting game because we're building liquidity on the high. Our expectation order flow is up, but all we have to do is wait for enough liquidity to get taken on the lows to start moving towards all of the liquidity created on the highs, which is also just expectational order flow. I think the play that was here I actually removed. Yeah, I did remove the RR, then I'm not gonna go too much into that. Yeah. Remove it. There we go. But this point of interest was pointed out in the Discord group as well. Great reaction from it. So let's look at the local picture. Then look at this. we're not getting any strength from sellers trying to close and break a low. Liquidity hunt, liquidity hunt, liquidity hunt, liquidity hunt. It's crazy. Major ass resistance. Why is this resistance? Because compared to this big ass pump, I think no, that's not correct. I'm on the 1 hour. No, crazy ass pump, trading above the high. A lot of stop losses come below these lows. Interesting to accumulate here. You can see price doing so. But this level is strong. Last pullback brought us towards all the way new lows. Well, you could argue that our trend was this. You could see a lot of people tried to make that higher low for that higher high. Failed doing so though. So this is the part where we're against. And this would also mean if we never manage to gain it, we are not gonna go up. If we flip this level now, I am expecting way more upside. That is because we have taken out all our liquidity here, which isn't really the greatest thing, but that does mean if we do come back up here and break this level, we can continue towards the liquidity up here. Because if this is not enough liquidity to start rotate us down, our drawn liquidity is higher. And that means we're gonna go up. You can also see since we touched this demand and after we kept SFPing those lows, we created a change of character, new higher high, higher low, and new higher high. I think on the higher time frame you can respect this. You could say this is your structure pull towards new highs, but is this a good break? No. What makes this? Makes this a consolidation block. Because you never really broke above the high, so you're going sideways. I wouldn't really call that a part of my structure. This brought you towards new highs. So expectancy was... My screen doing that. Annoying. We could expect that higher low for new higher highs, which we have done. Okay, so that would also mean hold this low and we can trade higher. Now, this local picture will start to tell us if we can trade higher. So let's look. A lot of buyers came into the market while doing this, of course, but the reaction is not a joke. The reaction is crazy, brought us below here, lower high, lower low. So on the 1 hour, this was your move towards new lows. And if you want to look for longs from bottom to top, this would be your range. Where you have your swing low, your swing high, and when you're moving in between them, what are you doing? You're consolidating. Gonna enlighten this a bit more why this hunt is so important, but first extend our range. Market lost, test back all liquidity and trade up higher. It's a really aggressive way to start continue your trend or reverse your trend actually. We've also saw it on Bitcoin a few times. This is the part that brought you higher. This becomes demand. This is your high time frame pull towards lows. Would I call this a break? We have opened and closed above it. Now we're consolidating a bit. You could definitely call this a break, and if not, you could call this a break. This is your change of character. Oops. That's your high time frame change of character, but if you start to follow our structure, this is our last pullback before we actually start to make new highs. So this is where our momentum shift came from. This is what caused the change of character. Also, after hunting a low and now there we're holding it. So it would be really relevant to come back here and look for that higher low for new higher highs. This would also align with the liquidity schematic, because this means if you have your first deviation, take out the low, trend up, test your demand, or go below one more time, you have really strong indications that market makers, the smart money, are accumulating, and you want to trade with that accumulation. So this is definitely a really good point of interest to look for those longs. Absolutely great. It's nice how we left this behind. Is there market maker involvement here? No, it's just 3 tops with nothing. Also untested supply here. This was supposed to bring you towards new highs. It failed doing so. So what stepped in here? Sellers. Makes it your supply. Oh man, this is actually looking great. And then back again towards this hunt. Why am I so interested in this scenario and I haven't really drawn in the tap below it one more time? And that is really simple. This is the part that we tested and it tried to bring us up to new highs. Okay, so everyone that longed in this move, their stop loss is basically going to be here and here, because this is your demand that caused the reaction towards the upside. This is also the part that caused us to break that in big swings. And that's also what we hunted here. So we definitely do not have to come below it. We can definitely trade this way towards the upside. Now I'm looking at this and this is a bit of a mess. I'm not interested in any local longs here. Shorts could be, but were these equals? They were. Okay, then I'm a little bit more bearish and interested in actually trading this direction. I like that we built lower highs here, traded down really aggressively, getting a lot of sellers into the market, taking them out, and now we're building liquidity on the highs. Yes, our trend is still up, but the indication of this could also be that we could still trade downwards, and that's why I do not want to touch this. Our structure is pointing up, but liquidity wise it could look like we can come a bit lower. That would also align with our great point of interest down here. Also, we have grabbed all the liquidity here. Basically, our next direction would be these highs. It's definitely possible that we could just start pumping up there, but then we do not have a good trade. Because this is where the smart people stepped in. That's also where we want to continue. When price comes back here, they're going to protect their orders. And we want to trade with them. So staying off this local part. Last supply before your technical target. This is what had to bring you towards new highs, but this is your last part before we make new lows. So let's wait and see. Hope we can build some more liquidity here. Trade up, actually test our supply, then start creating liquidity, taking all this out, making this a crazy liquidity trail, and then this scenario comes into play where we could absolutely start blasting. ADA is looking fine. And then again, almost an hour of streaming, only 4 coins analyzed, but then again, the way I do analyze, I'm literally going over freaking everything. This should literally be a mentorship on itself. These live streams. I'm gonna warn you, in the future, it's not gonna be that much in detail. You will have to pay. I'm gonna send you an invoice because this information, man. Literally spitting everything out for free. How I analyze the chart, my plans on the chart. People don't realize how much value that actually is. And if there are local trades now, I am gonna take them, just so you know. Down until proven otherwise. Still nothing going on. Even if we start to break this, I will still wait on the local part, because your technical target of this higher low for the higher high is here, and your risk to reward, you want it to be good. So to take a trade here with your stop loss below and your target here, it's literally nothing. Okay. If there's any more chart requests right now, then I'm gonna pick it up. If not, we're gonna end up at Bitcoin, and then I'm gonna end the stream, because then I'm actually gonna solo analyze everything, because I can tell if I only draw in 3 to 4 charts in an hour because I'm explaining literally everything I see, then it's not gonna hurry up for my session, and I'm gonna be here literally the whole day. Well, I can do this, I can analyze all of this easily within an hour and have every scenario sketched out. And that's what's so hard about streaming. It's not really time efficient for me as a trader, but then again, it does help to build up a good community and actually create more price action traders. Okay, end up at Bitcoin. Unless there's gonna be a chart request, then we're gonna do one more. Aminu, welcome brother, welcome to the stream. Hello, I'm just joining in. I don't know if you have analyzed Sui. You love Sui, don't you? I'm gonna analyze Sui for you, yeah? I'm gonna do Sui, Bitcoin, and then I'm gonna end the stream. Sui has actually made a little gain, hasn't it? Interesting things have happened here. on Sui, because I remember last time I analyzed this for you, Aminu. I remember we were below this line here, and the trend was down until proven otherwise, which makes sense, right? But what we have done is we've actually broken this local downtrend, and we've actually put up a nice little bottom. Which we did front run our major demand though. That is something I do not like for higher time frame, more upsides. I would really like to test this demand, and front running it like this gives me signals that okay, we could actually still start building up more liquidity, take it out, reclaim that old low, and then you could absolutely see Sui blasting off again towards all of this liquidity that we have built, because it's giving a signal like this. Now you want to see this. You want to see the bulls take over in the market. Remove that. For hour, this is not a good break. That brought you to new lows. I would say this was your structure high to break. There are some rules with structure, like this is one candle for me that brought you to new lows. The lower time frame, this is your pullback. But if you just take a look at the 4 hour, this is going to be one swing. And those rules I'm not gonna give out in the free education course, of course. So this would be your change of character if you look at it from this perspective. And you can see those two candles you wanted right here up actually did form here with this pullback, also testing this old liquidity. So this is what brought you towards new highs locally. So your trend is low, higher high, while also combining it with this trend. Your internal structure is this. So it's all pointing up, higher low for new higher highs. So that doesn't look too bad at all. But then you still have to watch out, because if you are trying to long, you're still longing in resistance. You can see this is a daily order block that left crazy imbalance below it. So that's where a lot of strength came from. You're also against, I mean, you can see it on the interaction of all these price FLs. Just look at this support resistance. So it's easy sign that we could still do this and then blast off. So where would I be looking at? Pretty bearish as of now, but I can already see multiple scenarios where I'm interested in, as well as longs and shorts. Shorts, we have this range, we are trending up, and we want to look for shorts, so we're gonna draw our from high to low. Possible market maker signal 1. Extend our range. We could actually make this supply way smaller, because it looks a bit better on the chart. This is your last pullback that brought you all the way towards new lows, and then you also have this internal that helped you do it. So this is your smallest form of supply. I think if you manage to gain this, then you're gonna go towards this liquidity, because all there is liquidity. Your supply is tested now. If you do gain that high, then we could see more upside, because we have possible reasons for a distribution, but it's nowhere near confirmed yet. And this could still be our expected order flow. Ooh, a pennant. I like myself a pennant. What is a pennant? I think everyone in trading knows what a pennant is, or should I say compression. And a compression is consolidations. And if you watched a few videos of mine, a few streams, you know I love to analyze or consolidations. Remove the 0.5. Always that old low. Swing high, swing low. Oh man. And as you're watching more of the streams and more of the things I do, it's literally almost just repeating, right? It's doing the same thing every time again, because it just works. This is what brought you to new lows. This is your last big price action pool before you created new highs. It's also what we tested here. We front ran it right here, creating more liquidity below this level. Makes it interesting to test it and continue. It's easy to analyze when it hasn't happened yet, but I'm literally doing the same thing every time over and over again. This was still up. That is one possibility, but I would prefer it this way. Another one of those ranges. Man, they come around a lot, don't they? By the way, for the people in the Discord, I have recorded the liquidity video. I'm gonna try and edit it today and also upload it today. And then probably next week, then the range trading video is gonna come out. And you can see I am using it a lot with those market maker signals, and these points when I draw on those ranges, it helps you clear consolidations. If price is going sideways, range trading will help you learn how to read it. That in combination with demand, liquidity, man, you literally have yourself a basic price action strategy already. And I know if you watch all of those 4 videos I'm gonna bring out over technical analysis of the basic price action course of next wave trading, then I know for sure if you use the right risk management, then you can already be a profitable trader. But it does take a lot of effort, of course. But that's how much value there is in those basic videos. Deviation of the low, extend our range there. There isn't really a demand here, so I'm gonna use this breaker. But it's literally this whole area that is your demand, but I'm fine-tuning it with this level, and just looks a bit cleaner on the chart, right? Price have to go here first before it goes all the way here, but leaving this low open could still mean moving upwards. This is what brought you towards those lows, that's what you're breaking, so this could also be really relevant to test back and continue. This would be your technical target. I hope if we do want the long here, then I want this to be left open, so we could maybe see something like this. Then you would have yourself a really nice play, all of this liquidity built up, and it's good for the continuation towards the upside. Then of this Liquidity schematic on this bottom, accumulation, your technical target would just be this range high. So that means this could be your drawn liquidity, and if that drawn liquidity is hit, we could still reverse all the way towards this low, which would be this range. From there you could do the same, draw liquidity hits, move up towards the highs again. There is a purpose for everything, is what I like to say, and a schematic like this could just be, even though this is market maker accumulation, the purpose of a whole accumulation like that could just be to hit the range high and then reverse. Absolutely possible. With the accumulation, you do not have to keep getting that follow through every time. It depends on the high time frame situation. And in this high time frame situation, it's telling me that it's less likely that we're gonna get that follow through because of this right here. And this what brought you towards new lows. And the front run of your demand here. And the building liquidity here. Let's look at this local picture. We did the same here on XRP. Traded above the high. What comes into the market? Buyers. Not a lot, because you like to see volume here and a little bit aggression over the high. We did not do that, but we did take out this low and we started trading up from there. Brought you to new lows. High, higher low, higher high. Hold this and our expectational order flow is still going to be a higher low for a higher high. Sure, am I interested in that? No. Why? I'm willing to take longs here, not here. It's about looking your most likelihood of getting that aggressive power towards the upside, and of course the people that has been stepping in. This is where smart money stepped in. So what should I do here? Not trading. And that is because this is now all just retail. This was aggressiveness from the market makers. Now retail is getting a bit FOMO, seeing above the high, creating more liquidity, makes it interesting to take them out, continue from there. So it's about looking for the most highest probability trades. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing with my zones. That's why I'm not gonna touch price there. We'll love to see XRP do this. Maybe create a little pullback here, gain, and then you have yourself a trade. We have actually started to build a little bit of liquidity on ADA. This is your extreme. Wait and see. Did not want to touch in the local. Okay. Bitcoin, the last one. Then I'm ending the stream. I also have to eat. Gotta fuel this body and this trading mind. Like, I'm not gonna do the high time frame literally every time I start streaming, because streaming is gonna be a bit of a regular thing for me again. So I'm not gonna do every time the high time frame. And if you are curious, then you would have to join the Discord, because that's where you can ask Bitcoin analysis. I will send the chart to you. That's where you can come for all your questions. You can come to the server right there. It's linked in the chat now. Saturday is always a shitty day in crypto. I avoid Saturdays because it's shit. Sunday, love to trade Sundays. Sunday, the market's already preparing itself for the next week, so you can already sketch a good bias, and that's why we are preparing our crypto trading week today. Pennants, compression, building liquidity on your swing low, swing high, taking out one side, then continue towards the other. It's a common pattern. On the 1 hour, I had this short scenario sketched out though. I think this was a bit of fake dump. This could just be luring in sellers into the market to then take out the high and start reversing. Definitely a scenario. Also because we pointed out these equal highs last time, so it would make sense to build a bit of liquidity here. Maybe even make new lows because of this swing structure, all of this building liquidity. And that would also combine with these equal lows that we have made and this point of interest down here. So I'm still looking at Bitcoin for this. This is a short POI. Do I want to look for longs? Could be, because we have broken out of this compression, or at least we hunted the bottom. And now we're gonna have a draw liquidity towards the highs here. And this would also mean if we come back here, do something like this, you could still trade towards your draw. Combining it with this level here, great support and resistance. You can see the interaction around it. It's up until proven otherwise. See how price reacts if we have to build some more. Not that much to say about Bitcoin. Could start compressing here as well. Build those lower highs while we have all of this liquidity here. But we did hold this 4-hour liquidity low really strong. We have still made new highs, even though it's not convincing. Then actually remove a few things. Because we also have this local range, which I find really relevant. There's so much in the chart, I do not like it. This can be gone, this can be gone, this can be gone. This could be our first signal. I would prefer us reacting here, going towards the low, then maybe reaccumulating, going up, or doing this. So we're gonna leave, I hope we're gonna leave this liquidity for later. This is a scenario, but we would have to really build some more liquidity while moving up towards that part. Then we could short it towards that 109k. bit of sketchy, a lot of possible scenarios on Bitcoin. So this is one way to trade it. And locally we could still expect some upside towards this level. But also having this technical target. Let's see. Okay, then I'm gonna ask one more time. Does anyone have a chart request? I'm still gonna do a maximum of 2. If anyone has a chart request in the chat, then you can hit me up and I'll analyze it for you. And if no one has a chart request, then I am going to end the stream. So I'm gonna wait a quick minute while looking at gold, because in the Next Wave Trading Discord we have absolutely nailed gold. I do not have to look at this. This is really hectic. Then I'm still talking in an hour on what is happening there. Yeah, this crazy long, another amazing long here towards autumn highs. I mean, what do we have to say about that? Crazy percentages. Damn. You can see the same things over and over again. Alright guys, thank you all for being here. It was an absolutely amazing stream. A lot of value spit. Thank you all for being here. Zeldris, Aminu, Lol. I appreciate you all being here. And we will see you inside the Discord. And into the next live stream. See ya.